Oh, now we're live stream. Oh, Lavana's here. There you go.
Okay.
Are we all good?
We're good now, Mike.
Perfect.
Thank you everyone for being here today. It is now 1:30, so I'd like to call the August 27th Board of Directors meeting to order. Before I start the formal part of our meeting, I would like to read out a statement of thank yous. If you can just indulge me for a moment. First of all, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the brave firefighters that have worked so hard and are still working on the Mount Underwood wildfire. I would also like to say thank you to the staff at BC Wildfire Services for the quick response and all of their hard work. We also have to recognize the work done by BC Hydro crews for restoring power to Vanfield, and also the TELUS crews for working to restore cell phone service. We also have to recognize and thank the local media, the Peak, Alberta Valley News, the Scoop, Ashista, and Check. They all gave up-to-date and factual information. And last but not least, I want to thank the staff at the City of Port Alberni and staff at the Alberni-Claycott Regional District and all of those people who worked at the Emergency Operations Center. These people worked extremely long hours in a very stressful situation and had to make some quick and difficult decisions. Their leadership and commitment is very much appreciated. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Mother Nature for giving us some much needed rain when we needed it the most. And if I left anybody out when we do every reports, please feel free to give thanks as you would like to. And perhaps also during the air reports, if the director would like to mention about how this virus impacted their community, please feel free to do so. And I'm sure Director Beckett will have lots to say on that today. So thank you. Thank you for indulging me. I'll start off by doing the alert acknowledgement. I'd like to acknowledge we're conducting this meeting on the unceded traditional territories of the Shuswap and Huipachesset First Nations, and we're grateful for the opportunity to do so. We also have directors calling in from other territories, and I would also like to acknowledge those nations and express our gratitude and our respect. Notice to attendees and delegates that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed to YouTube on the Regional District website. If anyone is watching and has questions, please send your questions into responses at acrd.bc.ca, and they will be responded to at the end of the meeting. So we'll go around the room and do introductions. My name is Debbie Haggard. I'm the Vice Chair of the Alberni-Claycott Regional District Board and Councillor for the City of Port Alberni. Chair Jackson's regrets he's not able to be here today. So we'll go around the room and then we'll go online. So we'll start with Cynthia.
Good afternoon, Cynthia Dick, General Manager of Administrative Services.
Good afternoon from this quiet board table, but there's a lot of people in the audience. My name's Penny Cote, Aklama Penny Cote. I am the Electoral Area Director for Sprout Lake. Needs to be here.
There we go. Sorry, I just Daniel Sayan, the CAO for the ACRD, and good afternoon.
And good afternoon, Alex Dyer, General Manager of Planning and Development.
Okay, we'll go online. Director Sparrow.
Thank you. Mike Sparrow, I represent Cherry Creek, and I'm coming from Weewakai today.
Director Siga.
Beta Sega, Director for Area C.
Director Beckett.
Bob Beckett, representing Area A, Banfield.
Director Roth.
Good afternoon, Susan Roth, representing Beaver Creek. Thanks.
Director Minions.
Shari Minions, Mayor for the City of Port Alberni.
Director Boyko.
Fred Boyko, Electoral Area Director for Beaufort. Thank you.
Director McEwen,
Good afternoon, Marilyn McEwen, Mayor of Ucluelet.
Director Mastangelo,
Good afternoon, Lavana Mastrangelo, representative from Ucluelet First Nation.
does any of the staff that are online and wish to introduce themselves? Terry, Eddie, or Mark?
Mark Fortune, Airport Manager, and we also have
Good afternoon, Brett McLean, Airport Development Manager.
Thank you, Terry.
Terry Fong, Chief Financial Officer.
And Michael?
Good afternoon, Michael McGregor, Lands and Resources Coordinator.
And I think we missed our IT person, one of the most important people in the room. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Randy Duchak, IT technician for ACRD.
Who did I know? Oh, sorry, Eddie, did you want to introduce yourself?
I can, yes. Eddie Kunderman, Operations Manager here at the ACRD. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We have an agenda in front of us. Is there any additions from directors? Seeing none, is there any additions from the corporate officer?
Yes, so we did receive letters of correspondence for 9.1B, and that is for TUP 25008, 2 letters of correspondence, and 9.1C, 1 letter of correspondence received for TUP 2400.
Thank you. You got a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Boyko. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Any declarations or conflict of interest? I would like to declare a conflict of interest for 9.1E due to a personal relationship with the applicant. Is there any other declarations or conflict of interest? Thank you. Next, we have a few minutes. First is the Board of Directors meeting for held on July 23rd, 2025. Is there any errors or omissions? Director Cote?
Thank you. I would like to move the minutes, but I would also like to ask 2 questions.
Please go ahead.
On page 14, the request for decision regarding Echo Aquatic Center review and feasibility study. Could I have a completion date for that, please? When we're supposed to have it done by?
I will ask Michael if he can provide some clarity.
Our contract with the consultant there, I think, has the final report being provided to the ACRD December 15th, roughly. So that should go to the board after that.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Another question on page 17. Request for decision regarding Cathedral Grove invitation to BC Park staff. Do we have a date on when they will be coming to visit? Thank you.
We originally had a date set, and that date was delayed due to the wildfires because it was including parks and industry transportation. As the event is still active and both are involved in the geotechnical work for the safety of the road to Bamfield, we don't have a new date yet.
Anyone else?
Go ahead and move the minute. Okay, adopted.
Can I have a seconder? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Siga. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is the minutes from the July 17th, 2025 Alberni Valley Regional Airport Advisory Committee meeting. Is any errors or omissions? Seeing none, could I motion that the minutes of the Alberni Valley Regional Airport Advisory Committee meeting held on July 17th, 2025 be received? Moved by Director Cote, second by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is the Committee of the Whole meeting held on July 23rd, 2025. Is any errors or omissions? Seeing none, can I motion that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on July 23rd, 2025 be received? Moved by Director Sparrow, second by Director Cote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is the Personnel Committee meeting held on July 24th, 2025. Is any errors or omissions? Seeing none, get a motion that the minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held on July 24th, 2025 be received. Moved by Director Cote, second by Director McEwen. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is petitions, delegations, and presentations. First, we have a presentation from the Emergency Operations Center on the Mount Underwood wildfire, and it's going to be a verbal report from Daniel, who is are you the head of the EOC, or what is your title? Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I'm still the EOC director. Just want to take the opportunity to provide an update on the current situation. I'm not going to go through the whole history because it would take a while. And I also just want to remind the board that this is just meant to be an update, not a debrief. We are going to organize a formal debrief at the conclusion of this incident, and that will give us a good opportunity to retrospectively take a look at things that worked well or didn't work well and make corrections at that point. But and because I would likely also be a part of that as a participant, that will be facilitated. So just wanted to flag that today is not about a debrief, it's just about an update. And so with regard to activities of BC Wildfire, we know that the fire continues to be classified as being held, and that its footprint is still 3,525 hectares. The BC Wildfire Service continues to be well resourced, and a lot of the work right now is just about identifying and addressing hotspots and mop up. And so the reminder that they are providing is that it is completely natural to continue seeing smoke as these hotspots do continue to burn within their held area. And so seeing the smoke doesn't mean that the fire behaviors has breached the containment area that they have. They continue to utilize bucketing helicopters to support ground crews, and a lot of their work right now, which is particularly challenging, is in this steep and inaccessible terrain. The state of local emergency that was in place for the city of Port Alberni was removed. But the state of local emergency that is in place for the ACRD, it remains in place. And that includes an evacuation order and an alert area. These areas remain in place. And the reason at this time for them to remain in place is due to the unsafe road conditions. And so, as I indicated, answering a bit earlier, we have a number of different agencies, including Mosaic, who owns the portion of road and land where there's a lot of geotechnical concern. Ministry of Forest and Ministry of Transportation, BC Hydro are all the 4 key agencies doing geotechnical reviews in coordination to better assess what we're looking at in the near future and to tell us the conditions that need to be met in order to reopen that road safely for the public. For the Bamfield area, there is power restored, and power was restored on Saturday after being out for 12 full days. The power being restored is a temporary fix, and once they too can regain access to this one problematic area, then their temporary fix will turn into a permanent fix as they're able to reinstall poles. But as it stands right now, it is they came with an ingenious approach to using marine line and a shallow burial area in a no-go zone to allow the power to be restored well in advance of what it otherwise would have been for Bamfield and Annapolis. So we certainly are singing their praises in terms of creative approaches. The Beaver Creek Volunteer Fire Department and 3 volunteers from Sprout Lake Volunteer Fire Department have all been deployed to help provide some respite to the local Bamfield fire crews. And just as a reminder, there is no ambulance service in Bamfield, so as medical calls occur, it is the same fire volunteers that are providing both services, and evidently being able to provide some support from other local departments has been a real lifeline. And so we're really pleased that that could be done. We continue to plan to ensure that waste collection takes place, and we were able to do a number of good fixes to make sure that the water services continue to provide service to the community of Banfield. We've been coordinating with Island Health to determine if marine transportation could be used for Banfield and Anakla residents who need transportation to medical appointments. So it's come to our attention that there's a number of residents that have standing appointments for treatment in Port Alberni. And as it stands right now, that is almost an entire day of travel for their appointments. So if they could come up the inlet instead, we think that that could be a better solution. We recently completed our second in-person community meeting in Banfield, and I believe as we speak, Kuwait is having their second in-community meeting in Anakla, and we've been coordinating these and sharing information so that we can make sure that we're doing our best to serve the one community in that area, albeit under two different governments. And so we've been receiving good feedback from people in Banfield, and thanks to that feedback, we're able to adapt and bring new ideas forward to better serve them through the emergency. We're preparing a map for residents because we've received a lot of questions around the complexities of the road that goes from, I'll say it's the Franklin River Road, the Banfield Road, and the Carmana Main, as well as the connector all the way through to Cowichan Lake. These roads have a number of different jurisdictions and ownership styles, which makes it really complex to try and navigate service and do things like grading and dust work and flag work. It also brings up a lot of complexities with regards to ongoing debris mitigation. And so we've been working with all of these various interested parties and owners to get the work that has to be done. But seeing as we're receiving a lot of questions from the public, we are preparing a map that we're going to release publicly. It's all based on publicly available information, but it just helps summarize the sequence of different owners involved in these roadways. It's not a gazetted highway, so it's not as simple as Ministry of Transportation should just do things. In fact, they're in the minority in terms of road access. TELUS Communications. So TELUS was able to provide some limited small range cell service in the community of Banfield, but they are commencing today and expect to be working for the next 9 days to complete some additional repairs and splicing work to restore the redundancy to those TELUS lines into the Anakla and Banfield community. Excuse me. With regard to road work, as I was saying, the geotechnical assessment is underway. The road itself is less of the concern. It is the extremely steep slopes to the east of just shy of 2 kilometers of roadway that is of concern, given that much of that steep terrain was burnt right down to the ground. And so it creates a number of geotechnical concerns, and no geotechnical team has been able to sign off on safety at this time. So that is the cause of the biggest block. And the estimate there is that it'll take up to 4 weeks before they have all of the details for that almost 2 kilometer range. And so, as you can imagine, there's a lot of coordination trying to figure out how to deal with that, because those 4 weeks have an impact both to the Banfield and Anakla community, but also to the Franklin Mill, and who also needs that roadway to continue doing the work they do. Graders are continuously working on the reroute to Yubu, which is the only active road right now, connection to Banfield. And the lead on that work is the Didadat First Nation, working in conjunction with Ministry of Transportation. They have flaggers at 2 checkpoints along the route, and they are also in a position, those flaggers are in a position to help point travelers in the right direction. And working with Ministry of Transportation, we're updating signs and providing feedback that we receive from travelers so that we can continue fine tuning that journey. Because the community Banfield is open and businesses were eager to make sure the ACRD and all governments were helping them promote that idea, as August is for them as well, a vital month for tourism and fishing. And so losing the revenues associated with August are devastating to the small community. With that, just wanted to say that we have been doing a lot of intergovernmental work from when the threat was originally moving north towards the city of Port Alberni. Obviously, our EOC team, which is integrated, worked really well together, and we really want to say thank you for all of that work. We did a tremendous amount of coordination with Tishat Nation and Pupachesit. With Huu-ay-aht, we actually had a liaison and communications from Huu-ay-aht in our EOC. And again, just trying to figure out ways to make sure that we're bridging potential communication gaps and activity gaps between governments, as it's a large region and a lot of different governments. And so that is sometimes harder than it seems, and especially when communications and power are disrupted. We want to really praise the work of BC Wildfire Service, who really handled what is an unprecedented fire on the island. BC Hydro did tremendous work, and I can smile to say that there's a certain individual in Banfield that I've never seen give a thumbs up to anyone, and he gave a thumbs up to BC Hydro yesterday, and I will never forget this moment. I want to thank the ACRD staff for all their work as well, but also just flag the fact that we had staff resources that came in from around the province, from Vanderhoof, from Strathcona Regional District, from Metro Vancouver, from Nanaimo, from Squamish. And so really want to say thank you, because that was a lifeline for us. We are a small team, and this was a major event, continues to be a major event. Want to say thank you to the Banfield community and to their emergency programs and their limited staff, both in health, the schools, the Marine Science Center. They've been real troopers and proof of a resilient community. And want to thank the Sprout Lake and Beaver Creek and Banfield and Cherry Creek volunteer fire departments, who all helped out and took part in this. Huu-ay-aht Nation, and of course the search and rescue teams across the region. If ever there was an example when we get to our grant and aid to talk about the value of these volunteers, this was it. So with that, I'll leave it there for now. And if there are any questions, I'm glad to answer them.
Thank you, Daniel, for that very detailed update. I would like to apologize when I gave all my thank yous. I did leave out Huu-ay-aht, Tishat, and Pupachesit for their very hard work during this time as well. Director Cote had a question.
I do, thank you. A couple, just, it's wonderful to see the provincial support, the response that they've given to help us out here in this situation. I'm just wondering if there's any follow-up that we could do with, is there any provincial economic support for those businesses? Because I'm sure it's been devastating for them, for the whole community. And another question, for those medical appointments, is there any way to do some air transport? Either, I know there used to be a runway in Banfield, but maybe a helicopter or something that's not so disruptive, quick and easier on the body and whatnot. Thank you.
I'll start with the support for businesses. So under the emergency funding, there isn't any direct support to offset losses for a business along those lines. The best thing that we've been able to do and are doing is looking at how it is we can offset the costs of just maintaining some of the regular access to various key aspects, whether that be sewer, water, waste removal, in some cases food. We've been asking to see if we can help with deliveries and whatnot. So we're exploring all of these channels around it. But in terms of direct help under the emergency services or emergency funding, there's nothing there. We are now working with the recovery aspect as well of emergency services, and that does include the Jobs and Economic Growth, the Ministry of Jobs and Economic Growth. It used to be JEDI, now it's JEG. They do have coordination with various loans and different things to offset, but no direct support as in and of itself. And so that's going to be a tough one to navigate. And the best thing that we can do right now is help create those quick links and create those access points to those services that are there in case of emergency for businesses. With regard to emergency connection, yeah, we've run through so many different scenarios. The helicopter is if there is a true emergency, and we've already seen one where the helicopter has gone in, the Comron to pick up an infant and bring the infant to Vancouver for aid. And beyond that, that's why we're potentially looking at establishing something up the inlet where we can transport people for regular appointments. And we figure the best way to prevent an emergency where a helicopter does have to go in is to strengthen those links so people can continue going to their existing appointments.
Thank you. Just to follow up on the economic devastation that is being once again put on the West Coast. I'm wondering if we had learned anything from the Cameron Bluff fires, if there was any avenues for, because we have all of that information, I think, that we collected on how devastating that was to all of our communities. And this is a little more isolated to just Banfield area and Huu-ay-aht First Nations. So I'm just wondering if there's anything that we can utilize and maybe share those learnings on, and we are going to UBCM shortly, so we could talk to the province. Thank you.
I was just going to make a suggestion, so this might be a response, is if during the Cameron Lake Bluff fires, Community Futures were giving out very quick loans to businesses that have been affected. Can I suggest that you phone the executive director and see if they can do the same thing for Banfield? I mean, it's not going to be a grant, it's going to be a loan and it's going to be repayable, but in the meantime, it will keep them hanging on to that share.
Yes, so the answer there is yes, and we've already done that, and they are aware and are working towards that. So yeah, loans is never the news that a business wants, but in some cases it's better than nothing. With regards to next steps for the road, that was a great question, because I think during the course of this event, the Ministry of Transportation, or the Minister of Transportation, accepted our meeting for both the alternative highway and the rail. And so we will have the opportunity. I will also flag that Chief Judy Thomas of the Ditigat has been an incredible force during this, and so we're very grateful that she's part of this, even though it's for an emergency. She is also coordinating with us to try and get an earlier meeting in Victoria pre-UBCM. Whether or not we can achieve that, I'm not sure. But obviously they're tying in the commitments made for treaty with the need for the reroute that we have in the valley. And so her hope there is that together we can preempt the UBCM with some proposals. So that is also on our docket in the wee hours of the night or the morning, as the case may be, as we're trying to assemble these arguments and also make requests for meetings. So be ready, because I think this board will be briefed and brought in very short order if we get that meeting as well.
Thank you. Director Boyko, then Director Roth. Please go ahead, Director Boyko.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yep, thank you for all the good work for all the EOC and wildfire people. So now we've had a couple of years where we've had major shutdowns of roads and things like this and financial impacts. We need to figure out where we draw the line of telling people they need to shut down their business and allowing them to continue, whatever you want to call that, because a lot of areas are already self-sufficient with backup generators and things like that. And when we had, say, the bomb cyclone out here in November last year, the Beaufort people all got together and cut down all the trees and opened up the roads and things like that, and all help. We were without power for 4 days. It's a little bit of a different scenario, but when people are set up to be self-sufficient, we should allow them the ability to do that rather than making them shut down. So we need to take that into account. But with what's happening here and the limited roads, and the fact that this keeps happening, until we get an extra road out of here, we're going to have this happen over and over again. So we have to come up with a solution to allow people to carry on with their lives as much as they can. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Roth?
Thank you. My comment, I wonder, air quality has been a major concern for many people, including myself. When would be a good time to discuss air quality and the wildfires? It doesn't have to be now.
With the air quality, when the air quality was at its worst, we did have an air quality resiliency center, reception center opened. And there were air scrubbers in there as well, and there was food and support for individuals who needed it. When the threshold of that air quality dropped below that level where we needed the center, we shut it down. If it was required to open again, we could do so at this point in a matter of hours. But the way the fire is burning right now, we're not seeing that. This said, I would say that if we're going to change procedures or want to revisit how we do that, that the opportunity to do that would be during our debrief, and we can, it will certainly be one of the subjects that are added, and this board will be part of that debrief.
Okay, I was thinking more overall, like today, the air quality is very poor with smoke. And so it's not just, during the wildfire when it was at its worst. So I can do it then, but it might involve Environment Canada and how air quality is monitored and where it's monitored, because I believe it's not even within the city of Port Alberni, but I'm not sure. I've received several emails about air quality and people with lung problems and wanting more accurate data. So I can forward that information too. Thank you.
Please do forward that information, and perhaps this is something we can just pay attention to next time we talk about the air quality group that we have here in the Valley.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments for Daniel before we move on? Again, I want to thank all the staff, the Emergency Operations Center. You guys have done a fantastic job under a very stressful situation.
If I can say one more thing, and I know Director Beckett is staying quiet, but special thank you to Director Beckett, who maintained a continuous line between volunteers and our EOC. And so I acknowledge and realize that as much as I have had a lack of sleep, I know that his rivals mine and the entire EOC. So thank you. I'm hoping that he can achieve some rest in the weekend to come. So
thank you. Dr. Roth, did you have another question? You still have your hand up. Thank you. Okay, so thank you, Daniel. We'll move on to delegations. First on our agenda is the Alberni-Quequot Regional District Sprout Lake Marine Patrol and their annual presentation. And we look forward to this, hearing from you every year. So please come on up.
Hello, my name is Aaron. I'm here with the Sprout Lake Marine Patrol. This is David, this is Ryan, and this is Davin. And we are presenting our year-end presentation. All right, our training. We did trailer training with Mel Francoeur, Marine Basic First Aid, BC Ambassador training, which included 6 courses relevant to our program, such as Adventure Smart, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Workshop, Leave No Trace, Fire Smart 101, Indigenous Awareness Training, and Bear Camp Workshop. Our mission this year was to establish a safe, enjoyable, environmentally responsible marine culture for all users and residents of the Sprout Lake area. As a team, we strive to achieve this goal through 6 different ways.
Yeah, and the first way we tried to meet this goal was just simply our presence on the lake. As we're out on the water, we're monitoring for unsafe boating, looking for wildfire concerns, especially with the hot weather we had. We mark deadheads every year, report hazards on the water, also environmental hazards, help boats in needs of assistance, and conduct water testing. Second, continuing the education that we started. We just use QR codes, our social media, and our school outreach program just to educate the public on things, especially like safe boating practices, the minimum safety requirements, which sometimes people just don't know. Invasive species like the koi fish, which has been a big problem out there for a while. Boating etiquettes, dangers of the lake, and just general water safety. And then public assistance. We still have the free PFD loaner system out there just at the boat launch. We get new life jackets every year from kind people in the community. We aid the public to the best of our trained abilities. So jump starts, fuel spills, first aid, and towing. Also offer navigational assistance to those unfamiliar with the Sprout Lake area or areas within the Alberni Lake region. And then, yeah, we clean beaches by removing garbage and any other unwanted items.
Yeah, so we also offer coordination of the public boat launch at the provincial park. So we're there every single morning in our tent, and we do this by directing traffic. So when it gets really busy, directing parking, because we all know that gets pretty crazy sometimes. And this is highly appreciated. We have some great conversations with people down there, and they seem to really enjoy our assistance. And we also, if there's a single person down there, we'll offer to hold their boat for them while they park their vehicle. We also engage with the community as much as we can. This year, we're at the Beaver Creek Fire Hall Open House, the Sprout Lake Fire Hall Open House, Port Day, and the summer kickoff that the city of Port Alberni put on. And we also connect with the community through social media. So we make TikToks, have an Instagram and a Facebook page. This year, we also conducted water testing. So we tested for water temperatures in all the arms and their turbidity. And we did this in the main arm, as well as Taylor Arm, Two Rivers, Sterling Arm. And we did this twice a month and recorded it all on an Excel sheet.
Yeah, so some of our achievements this year, we had 600 plus students presented to our school outreach program. We had 75,000 people that we reached through our social media, 250 hours spent on the water doing things we previously mentioned, 9 deadheads marked this year, 650 boats helped at the launch, 1,700 interactions with the public, and 7 cars/boats that we jumped this year. So some of the feedback that we've gotten, we can get feedback from the public in multiple ways. We've received feedback as social media, email, and in person, as well as you can see an example there. We were in the newspaper this year. And the feedback that we have received through these have been overwhelmingly positive. So yeah, just a conclusion. It's been our pleasure running the program over the last 3 months, and we are sad the season is over. The SLP would like to thank Michael McGregor for being such a good leader for our team, and we are excited to see how the program will continue to expand in the future. And thank you to everyone else who helped with the program as well, because it was a lot helpful. So yeah, if there's any questions or comments, they're welcome now.
Thank you very much, Director Cote. And I just want to say to the people that are zooming in, we weren't able to get the presentation up to share it, so it will be posted online after the meeting. Please go ahead, Director Cote.
Thank you. Thanks to the crew. I'd like to know what your names are. I don't think that you now announced who you were.
Oh, my name, sorry. My name is Aaron. This is David. This is Davin, and this is Ryan.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your work this year. Like every year, Sprout Lake really relies on the Marine Patrol to come and keep order on the lake and to assist people. You're great ambassadors to the valley for all the visitors that we have. And the school programs that you provide, you know, could save lives, which is really wonderful. Can you tell me how many like boat safety checks you would do in a season, or
We don't.
did you work with the RCMP at all this year?
Yeah, so the RCMP, they came out a couple times. They did a couple of training days. We didn't actually see them out on the water doing anything this year, but they came to the launch and they talked to us a couple times as well. And so what was the first question there?
Just about boating safety.
Yeah, so the checks. So we don't regularly ask people to do checks of their boats, but we say, hey, like if you want us to do a check of your boat, make sure you have all the safety equipment, that sort of stuff. We will totally do it for them, but we are not going around trying to do it necessarily, but we are totally available. We even ask people sometimes if they'd like us to do it, but it's not something we necessarily go around and do.
One last question. Did you provide any help to Lightning on the Lake through the races, boat races that we had?
Yeah, so we got in touch with them early in the year, and we just kind of sort of helped out with parking. We also went on our boat during the day and just added an extra layer of safety, so if anything happened, we were there ready to help out.
Thank you so much for the work that you do, and good luck in your future. You're all going back to school, I imagine. Yeah, good luck to you. Thanks.
So thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments from directors? Seeing none, on behalf of the board, again, I just want to echo Director Cote's comments. Thank you very much for the hard work that you do on our lake each and every summer that you're here, and good luck, and we hope to see you back again next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is Kara McKenzie. She's going to talk about temporary use permit application TUP 25008 at 8335 Beaver Creek Road. Thank you. Please go ahead, Kara.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with all of you today about our temporary use permit for 8335 Beaver Creek Road. My name is Kara McKenzie. My husband, our children, and I own Solstice Farm. Over the past 2 years, we've worked really hard to start a farm and to achieve official farm status. Farming is not just our main goal, it's our only goal. Everything we do begins with our farm. The challenges that come with farming are a lot for, the challenge is that farming on its own is hard to sustain, especially when you just are starting out. That is why agrotourism matters to us. It is not separate from farming, it's what helps keeping farming possible. In most districts, agrotourism is something that you can do in the ALR once you have farm status. It goes hand in hand with farming. After reaching out to many different communities on the island, I realized that the ACRD is unique in requiring us to have this temporary permit to do agrotourism. In that process, I also spent time this summer visiting other rural communities and seeing how beautifully they celebrate agrotourism. Farms, cideries, wineries across the island are creating welcoming spaces where agriculture, community, and small businesses thrive together. We hope the board can see the benefits that agrotourism brings to farms and to this community, and that we hope that you will support our application today. Part of our vision is to one day open a small cidery that celebrates local agriculture and creates another way for people to connect with what Beaver Creek has to offer. Alongside that, we would like to offer small, meaningful experiences that fit naturally with the farm. Farm tours where people can see what we are building and learn about the animals and the land. Gardening workshops that encourage people to grow food of their own. opportunities for families and children to spend time with the animals. From time to time, we also hope to host carefully planned gatherings such as farm to table dinner that highlight local foods, an artisan market that supports local makers, a wellness retreat that brings people together in nature, or an intimate wedding that reflects the beauty of Beaver Creek. These gatherings do more than support our family. They create opportunities for others in this community as well. Weddings give work to caterers, florists, and photographers. Wellness retreats bring together local healers and instructors. Farm classes show the knowledge of gardeners and growers. Markets provide a platform for small artisans and local food producers. In this way, our farm becomes part of a wider network that strengthens the local economy and builds connections between neighbors. None of this is large scale or disruptive. It's about creating experiences that feel connected to the land, respectful to the neighborhood, and supportive of both the farm and the community. We know that some of our past events have raised concerns, and I take full responsibility for that. We have listened carefully and made changes to improve. We are expanding parking areas, adding signage, and making sure staff are present to guide guests for noise. For noise, we will be limiting amplified sound, pointing speakers away from any property lines, and always enforcing quiet hours by 11 p.m. Above all, we will be respectful of our neighbors and how we plan to host events. We also do not plan to host events every weekend. We are a family and we want to enjoy our farm as well. Events will be respectfully spaced out to ensure there is still room for peace in the neighborhood. We have also reached out to our neighbors. Instead of going door to door, we did decide to deliver a letter to local mailboxes so that everyone had the same information and our contact details if they wanted to discuss any concerns further. We also spoke directly to most of our neighbors who did have concerns, and most have shown support and communicated with us that they want us to do what we're doing. Some neighbors did not make me feel comfortable to contact them directly, and that is another reason why we included our contact details in the letter so they could reach out to us with any other concerns they wanted to discuss after reading our letter. We will also continue to keep our neighbors informed by posting all of our future events on our website. It will be updated often so that anyone can see what we have planned at any time. The website also has our contact details, so neighbors can reach out to us directly with any concerns whenever they need to. We are very aware of both ALR and ACRD agritourism rules, and we will follow them exactly as outlined in the agenda with our application that was provided today. The recent wildflowers also made us more aware of what we need to consider for the future. We even canceled future events because we did not want to add any extra stress to the community. And since then, we've invested in a water pump, a water tank, and trailer, and we also have fire extinguishers available for any events. We are committed to following fire smart practices and emergency protocols so that safety is always a top priority on Solstice Farm. Our dream for Solstice Farm is to create a place where farming, community, and sustainability all come together. We want to preserve the beauty of Beaver Creek while making sure farms like ours can thrive into the future. The truth is, farming is hard. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. But fewer and fewer people our age are stepping into this kind of work. Agritourism gives us a chance to keep farming alive, to make it possible for us to stay on this land and to share it with others. This is not an easy venture for us to take on as a family. My husband works full-time, I work part-time while raising our children, and agritourism is what makes farming possible for us and what allows us to build something lasting for both our family and the community. My husband and I are also very aware of the work it takes to run successful businesses. Between the two of us, we have managed very successful businesses over the past 10 years, and we know what it takes to build something that supports both community and the people who live here. 4 years ago, we chose to leave the West Coast and make Port Alberni our home so we could grow our family and create a new community in Beaver Creek. We love it here and we want to stay and raise our children here. Our kids go to school just down the road, and we want to see the community thrive with new opportunities for the future. I want to thank you for considering our proposal. My husband and I are happy to answer any questions, and we look forward to continuing to work together with both the board and our neighbors as Solstice Farm grows. I'd also like just to add one note that looking at the agenda today, one of our neighbors is here to speak after us, and the open segment is at the very end of the meeting, but the decision for our permit is in the middle. So I just wanted to put it out there that if it's okay, if the board has any questions after she speaks, I'd love to find resolutions for those if possible.
Thank you, Kara. I know it's difficult to get up and do what you've just done, so thank you. Is there any questions for Kara? Director Roth?
Thank you. I'm curious about fire protection because you're actually not in Beaver Creek, you're in the Beaufort electoral area, and I know they don't have fire protection in the Beaufort. And you did talk about having a tanker truck, but do you have a crew that would be ready to put out any fire and all the training that's necessary for fire protection?
We have set up what we thought would be the best to share what we can do today. But like I mentioned, we're here to learn and create any proper protocols or teams that are required for our events. I think that just having the fire just happen, we haven't had a ton of time to gather all of the details and info that we would need to do that, but we are open to creating something to protect our farm and the area for sure.
So you don't have a fire protection plan for your property then, is that what you mean?
We do, but I don't have a team like you were asking. Me and my husband have created what we can do on our farm during the event.
Okay, but you do own a tanker?
We have a flat deck trailer and we have a large water container with a pump that we could use in case of emergency.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Director Boyko, Director Cote, and then Director Siga. Please go ahead, Director Boyko.
Thank you, Chair. So my questions relate to the two things that have been identified. And I heard one thing last night that when we had the market there, that when the road was essentially close to blocked off, BC Parks got really upset that people couldn't actually bring their trailers out of Stamp Falls Provincial Park because of how tight the road got. So that's one concern we have to very much address. And secondly, the other concern is obviously the noise. So we have to come up with a way to do that if we're going to support this. So my question is, how many events have we had out there, and why are we continuing to have problems? So moving forward, what's a good solution for that? I mean, there's 20 acres there to put parking, and I know you guys are going to talk about that, but it's the main concern that we're hearing is those two things. So I just want you to elaborate a bit more on those two things. Thank you.
Sure. I'll start with parking. We have a large, well, I'll start with the events that we've held. We've had 2 weddings and 1 market this year. We canceled our next wedding and future markets as soon as the fire started. We have found that some of the complaints that the neighbors are sharing refers back to an event we held 3 years ago when we first bought the property. We had a family reunion, we had a band, we were loud. And I apologize for that to our neighbors and anyone that I spoke with. But since then, we have had nothing. Both weddings that happened this year were done by, the first one was done by 11:30. Second one was done by 11. I hope that the neighborhood could allow me a little bit of grace. I think there should be a learning period going into these events, and we did really the best that we could, and we learned a lot from the first event. And then the second one really went well, and I feel like we were really successful with how the event went. I know the sound is an issue for our neighbors. However, I've spoken to some neighbors that live directly adjacent to us, and there is no issues. I find that in our neighborhood, there is events often with loud music and bands and neighbors playing music in there on their properties. And I don't think that just our property reflects sound in our neighborhood. So that's in regards to the sound and the issues there. I'm also open to hearing what board members or ACRD would like us to do to make this work any better that it can. Before this meeting, I tried to reach out to directors and planners, but they kind of left me that I have to figure this out. So, but I would love support from the people that are asking the questions as well to make this work better if there's any feedback on what you think. In regards to parking, for our market, we did have a parking lot. It was our first event, and I think that a lot of people didn't understand that there was parking. Anyone that lives in Beaver Creek, I think, knows that when you go to an event in Beaver Creek, roadside parking is very common. I actually went to the car show 2 weekends ago and noticed the parking was not much better than anything that we were doing. And I know Director Boyko, you mentioned that we should be holding events like Shannon Farms and Beaver Creek Hall where there is ample parking. But after seeing the car show, I noticed ample parking was not something that Beaver Creek does have. Markets are the only concern for our parking because we can't control how many people would be attending the event. And that being said, I'm okay to not do artisan markets or farmers markets. My main goal is to grow our apple farm and do some small events to try to promote and support our farm continuing. So yeah, if that's actually a concern, that will be the only event that would cause any parking issues. I also do have the opportunity, we have a large field just above our parking lot that we could expand into if markets are something you would like to see us continue in Beaver Creek. But yeah, I think that we can make it work better. I think it was our first one, and these events have been our first one, and each one will grow and learn and get that much better. We really don't want to create any issues with the community or disrupt the community anyway. So I'm here to answer any more questions or have any feedback on how we can make these events work better because oh, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Director Cote.
Thank you. I'm curious as to so your farm, and it sounds like you do maybe hay and maybe apple.
We're an apple orchard. Yes.
Orchard. Okay.
The goal is to be a apple cider.
Okay. So looking at listening to the problem, signage is an answer for parking or.
Yes, and I said that in the letter that those are all things that we plan to work on.
Yeah.
And have worked on. We actually had a lot of things in place for future events, but we decided to cancel those events.
So fire is always a risk that everybody takes. I don't know how the fire started or how extreme it was or threatening to the community. So I can't really respond to anything about that. But Sprout Lake has a lot of noise, and it seems that everybody takes their turn. Nobody has parties all week long and like it used to be, because now we have the temporary permits for the short-term vacation rental. So this is also a short-term or a temporary use permit, which could be pulled if we allowed it and then you didn't abide by what the rules are, then it could be pulled. I think that not giving people a chance to do things is a mistake on our part. There has to be a reason why to not allow it. Fire might be one of them, but
we didn't have a fire, to be clear. We were just preparing because of the fire in the area.
Oh, okay.
We just saw that as a time to then create something because now this is an area that's experiencing wildfires every year. So we wanted to make sure we were prepared.
Great. That's great to hear. That's better than a lot of facilities, people, businesses, all over in the rural areas. I think that you're really making the right choices as to what to be looking at to mitigate for fire. I know that McLean Mill had a campground, and you could probably learn something from them on how they allowed for camping there and the amount of people that they have going through there. But I wish you luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask Director Siga and then Director Roth if you could be quick, and then Director Muniz, because this is dragging out a little bit long. So Director Siga, please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I had actually the concerns that I had that had been brought up by neighbors, obviously in regards to parking and noise, have kind of been addressed. And I just so I wasn't going to comment, but I do want to comment that I am in full support of locals taking advantage of using their properties and homes to incorporate businesses and tourism because I believe it supports a stabler economy and more diverse economy for us. And in terms of being proactive about the fire, I think that's great. We do have a Fire Smart program that, or we did, where they would go and help assess what fire risks there are. Yeah, so hopefully, in my experience, the loud music, it sounds like you've already decided on hours and letting the neighbors know ahead of time, which is a really good proactive move. Yeah, in my experience, the music at weddings was always indoors. So just a food for thought there. Thanks.
I will make a comment that we have looked into creating a space that can be closed off for music as well to create less issues. We're kind of just prepping for the next season and looking at lots of different things that we could do with long-term goals of hopefully having like a space that would be inside and completely closed off for events as well.
Thank you. Director Roth, please go ahead.
Thank you. You've used the term small wedding and small event. How many guests make a small wedding or an event? I see that the ALC puts 150 person limit on these. Is that a small event, or what would you say is a small event?
We've decided to keep our numbers at 100 for weddings, ideally less. We have different packages that promotes like a small elopement that would be less than 30 people. We have a dinner and ceremony package that only offers to 80 people. And then we actually are trying to promote people to just get married and have dinner at our property and then rent the Beaver Creek Hall for events to have a closed area for loud music. And that's why we've only offered our wedding weekend package to up to 100 people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Minions.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to commend you for, I think, coming here and talking about the challenges of being a young family and trying to operate a sustainable farm and the challenges that exist with that. I think that's something that, from my perspective, you hear about occasionally, but being not like in the world, I don't have a full understanding. I think it's extremely important to be highlighting the challenges. Like we all talk about wanting to have more food grown in our community, more security, support local farmers. And I think this is the reality of what it often takes. So I appreciate that perspective being brought. I think for the most part, my concerns have been answered. I did just want to highlight that we have wedding venues that do outdoor weddings in the city of Port Alberni, where people are in close proximity to their neighbors. And while there's outdoor music and bands, and that can create challenges, we have found lots of ways to successfully mitigate that. Work within the noise bylaws that exist. And I think our community is very proud to have those venues. So if it can be done in close proximity in the city of Port Alberni, I would imagine there's certainly ways to make it be done successfully in the more rural areas. So I don't think I actually have a vote on this when we get to it, but just wanted to say that I've appreciated the information shared today, and it sounds like you've done a lot of work trying to come out and work with the neighbors and make this successful and something that our whole valley can be proud of. Thanks.
Can I just say one more comment too, Sherry? I just think that people are getting married in the Alberni Valley, regardless of my venue and our farm. And I think that there's more places opening that create rules and safety and control of these types of events. And rather than letting farms and friends and families just having parties here, there, and everywhere till what time in the night, I think that having regulated spaces where we can have events and have systems in place are going to promote better results for the community as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Karen. Appreciate you coming forward today.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, next on the agenda is Carolyn Ellis, resident of Beaufort Trolley area and response to the temporary use permit application TUP 2500888335 Beaver Creek Road. Thank you. Do you want to just pull down your mic a little bit? So there you go. Thank you. Please go ahead, Carolyn.
Good afternoon, Clecco. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak. I am here again today to respectfully address the board members and Tara McKenzie regarding the application for a temporary user permit for 8335 Beaver Creek Road, Solstice Farm. For those of us who raised concerns during the Mackenzie's last application in July, we continue to have some trepidation and concerns which we feel need to be addressed before the consideration of granting a permit. Again, I would like to make it absolutely clear that I and those who have asked me to speak on their behalf are not against the Mackenzie proposal in its entirety. In fact, we encourage, applaud, and support their farming vision. I would also like to say we truly appreciate Tara and Jeff's attempt to address the concerns and issues and define and clarify the components of their proposal and their willingness to work with the community. For example, last night, the Solstice Farm website that promotes and describes their wedding packages advertised their weekend wedding venue was open from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. As of this morning, it reads 12 p.m. to 11 a.m. We greatly appreciate this kind of effort to work with us. We do, however, continue to have real concerns about certain aspects of the permit application that have caused considerable disruption to the area and some activities that could pose a real risk to ourselves and our property. What we are objecting to are those commercial activities that have little or no connection to farming and agriculture, specifically events like weddings that have already had a negative impact to some of us. The recent Mount Underwood and the Wesley Ridge fires have clearly demonstrated how a single act of carelessness can affect so many and how fast a wildfire can grow in a matter of minutes. The events, such as the wedding venue proposed by the Mackenzies, greatly increase the potential for accidental fires due to the congregation of large groups, and especially with wedding events with a consumption of alcohol, which often contributes to impaired judgment and careless behaviors. In addition, most of these events will foreseeably take place during the hottest and driest months of June, July, and August. In the presentation that was submitted for board approval, which I'm basing my presentation on, it was stated that if granted a permit, we will develop fire safety protocols and emergency response plans. In all fairness to those who neighbor Solstice Farm, clear, concise fire safety protocols and emergency response plans that have been scrutinized and evaluated, along with the necessary resources and equipment to fight a fire, should be established and be in place before a permit is granted, not after, to ensure the safety, peace of mind, and security of all of us living in the area. And since we in the Beaufort District are outside fire protection. Clarification is also needed regarding the frequency and number of events being held at Solstice Farm. According to the ALC Commissions Act for gathering of non-farm use, it states a maximum number of 10 events of any kind are permitted within a calendar year. The Mackenzies are regularly promoting and offering yoga classes, farm classes, along with farmers markets and wedding venues. Just a quick count of the events listed on their website, and including the 2 weddings and farmers and artisan market already hosted, they've already exceeded the maximum exceeded the 10 event max. We would also appreciate clarification on what is meant in the original presentation or the information that was supplied to the board of natural sound buffers to minimize the noise and disruption caused by some of these events. If it is in reference to the surrounding trees, this has done very little thus far to reduce the sound and commotion created by these events. In closing, we fully support the Mackenzies' farming, agriculture, and some of their agritourism plans and visions, and we wish them well with this venture. However, we are asking that their plans do not supersede the safety and security of our area and our ability to enjoy our quiet rural lifestyle. I'm hoping the board will help determine an impartial judgment to what can be seen as fair and equitable common ground, where the Mackenzies will prosper with their agricultural tourism venture, and we will be able to continue to enjoy our quiet rural existence. Thank you, Pleco.
Thank you, Carolyn. Is there any questions or comments? Director Boyko?
Thank you, Chair. Caroline, I just want to say thank you for coming in a second time and talking about things. The concerns are out there, and I'm glad that there's some communication happening between the neighbors and the applicant here. There's still some outstanding items that I think people are working towards, and I think we'll have a good discussion when we come to this later on in the meeting. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
We're getting a lot of feedback when you talk, Director Boyko. Do you have something on in the background?
How about now?
That's much better. Thank you.
So I'll just say it again quickly. Thank you, Caroline, for coming in, addressing your concerns. And at the same time, I think we're going to have a very good discussion here later on in the meeting about how we're going to proceed and any possible actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
I just want to make it clear that Tara did make an attempt to talk to some of the residents or some of the people who live adjacent to our farm. However, she did not come and talk to any of us on Miller Road who expressed concerns last time, Bob Fink, Dina Martin Bolger, or myself. Now, admittedly, I will take some responsibility for her apprehension to talk to me because I feel that I might have come across as angry and a little bit aggressive when I talked to her in the last meeting, and I do apologize for that. But we would appreciate open and honest conversation. As I said, well, we can come to a common ground because we really want them to succeed in this venture, but not at the cost of our enjoyment of our property. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is correspondence for action. We have a request for letter of support from the Dididat First Nation. They're requesting a letter of support for the emergency expense authorization application to emergency management and climate readiness to support road maintenance for the road between Dididat and Newbro. Daniel, please go ahead.
If I can speak to that as well. So the EOC provided a letter of support, and that went into establishing all the work that is taking place. But as a matter of practice, because it was addressed to the board, we want to make sure that the board did receive it and has the opportunity to discuss and provide that support as well.
Thank you. Director Cote.
Thank you. So the letter's been sent. Do we need to send another one?
The letter has been sent on behalf of the EOC. It would be great to be able to back up, even though now the action's already taken, but as just a general matter of support, it would be good to have a comment from the entire board, not just the emergency operations section.
I'd like to make that motion then.
Thank you. Director Beckett.
I'd like to second that motion, please.
Thank you. So you have a motion that the Alberta Quikut Regional District Board of Directors forward a letter of support to the Dididat First Nation in support of the emergency expense authorization application to emergency management and climate readiness to support road maintenance. I think that's a no-brainer to move forward. Any final questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next is request for student registration for 2025 UBCM convention. And I just want to recognize Director Cote for bringing this forward every year. Really appreciate this. And we have someone that wants to go this year. So would you like to make a possible motion?
I would like to make a motion. that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors approve registering Ethan Sam as a student participating to attend the 2025 UBCM Convention in Victoria, BC, scheduled for September 22nd to 26th, 2025, and direct staff to apply to the Association of Vancouver Island and Coastal Communities to assist with up to 50% travel and accommodation reimbursement to a maximum of $1,000.
Moved by Director Cote. Are you seconding that motion, Director Boyko, or did you have a question?
I'll ask a question if it's second.
Please go ahead.
My question relates to what costs will be borne by the ECRD, the registration or 50%, or how is that going to work? Because I know that our director costs are starting to go through the roof, like 55 grand per year at this point.
Okay,
Terry, do you have the response to that? Do you have the cost? Oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
So in my estimates with the information that was provided by ABICC and looking into the convention for hotel costs, meal costs, and the additional registration are meal fees, it would be approximately $1,000 depending on how many nights the student is attending.
Thank you.
Just good, yeah, good to echo. The registration that's provided is free from UBCM, and then obviously with the student who is part of the community, we would make sure that we take the opportunity to show them the ropes and accompany them to various sessions as it's useful to explain some of the activities that are going on.
Just to share a tidbit of information, Councillor Mealy, he was actually a student who attended this when he was still in high school, and that was what moved him to run for city council. So it works. Dr. Cote.
Thank you. I have to say that I have always been impressed by the students that come forward and attend our convention. Last year, we had a student that gave a presentation at the end that was just amazing. You know, the youth is our future, and the better that information that they have going in to their future is I think we should be supporting that. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I get a seconder on this motion? Would anybody like to second? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Siga. Any vital questions or comments? Did you have another question, Director Boyko?
Yeah, just quickly, I like what Director Cote just said, that having a presentation at the end, because often we hire in my industry co-op students to work with us, and one of the requirements of that is, hey, give us a presentation at the end of what you learned and how valuable it is, and moving forward. So maybe we should have something like that. Say if the taxpayers are going to be asked to pay for this, then the student can come in and give us a little presentation on how it went and that kind of thing. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we can extend an invitation after UBCM. I think that'd be a great idea. Okay, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. We have quite a bit of correspondence for information from UBCM with the unreported resolutions. And we also have an invitation to the Small Talk Forum 2025. We have a letter from Minister Parmar, Ministry of Forest, on the development and implementation of an Alberni Region Forest Action Plan. We have a letter from Minister Osborne, Minister of Health, regarding the Farmers Market Nutrition Coupon Program. We have a thank you letter from the Shuswap First Nations Fisheries Department for the 2025 Fisheries Engagement Session. We have the 2026 Strategic Plan in Year 4 dashboard from North Island College. We have information from the Vancouver Island Economic Alliance on their 2025 summit registration. We have a letter from the Ivan Scott regarding the Canadian Judicial Council. We have a request for letter support and endorsement from Village of Lions Bay on UBCM resolution on emergency water treatment plants. And we also have a letter from Maple Ridge and City of Mission on an urgent call for the restoration and expansion of derelict vessel removal program. We have a letter from Rebecca Terapaki on Wesley Ridge wildfire concerns. And we have the 2025 impact report from Island Coast Economic Trust. Then we have a letter from Port Alberni Association for Community Living regarding fetal alcohol spectrum disorder awareness month events. Does anybody wish to pull anything out? Seeing nothing, could I motion the board of directors receive items A through M from information? Moved by Director Beckett, second by Director Roth. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Next, we have a request for decision on bylaw F1170-2 2029 financial plan amendment, general government services, agenda management, and electronic voting software. Terry, please go ahead.
Thank you. So this is to build off the discussions that have been going around about the procedures bylaw and the director's direction to buy the software to do electronic voting as well as asset or agenda management. We don't normally bring these things forward until the next budget cycle, but because it's going to be a very busy year for the admin team with the local elections, they've asked that we bring this forward so that they can get started in procuring this software now and be able to implement it prior to the budget being adopted in March of 2026. So that is why it's here. So we're looking for 4 readings of the bylaw today. It doesn't amend the tax requisition amounts for 2025. We are unable to do that because they've already been sent and received, but does increase the amounts for next year. And obviously we'll have a fulsome discussion about all other items in that 2026 budget year as part of our upcoming budget discussions. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Terry. Please go ahead, Director Blake.
I don't have any questions. I think we had a very good chat about this during the previous meeting, but I'm ready to make the motions here. I'll make the first motion that the Alberta Claycott Regional District Board of Directors give first reading to the bylaw cited as bylaw F1170-2 2025 to 2029 Alberta Claycott Regional District Financial Plan Amendment.
Moved by Director Boyko, second by Director Siga, and Director Sparrow, then Director Cote. Please go ahead, Director Sparrow.
Thank you for that. I know we talked about this software management for voting. Can it do weighted and unweighted votes? Can it do that? Or is it just doing a straight hands count? Because if we do weighted votes, like the city has a higher weighted vote than I do, so would it be automatically calculating exactly who did what and it would be able to figure that out? Or do we do that manually like we do now?
No, so we will be procuring software, so we haven't clearly defined which one yet, but there are regional districts that have this software. And yes, it would have to be built in the background by staff in advance when we build the agenda. It'll be determined who gets an ability to vote, whether the vote's weighted or not weighted, and then it will do that automatically at the time.
Okay.
Thank you. Director Cote?
Thank you. So I'm making the assumption that 4% is the amount that's given here in the but the financial report for it, and not like 15,000 plus 4% for staff time.
That's our estimated increase per year in the software. So we think that we can get it for about 15 grand, and we're just making the assumption of 4% per year in terms of the increase of providing that software moving forward. That will all be determined on the procurement process, but that is kind of what we're seeing right now in software increases.
So then that's just the software, it's not actually running it and staff time behind that?
Well, it's the cost of the software itself, and then all the other staff time is not calculated into that calculation, no.
Okay.
But there is some efficiencies, like the procedures that we use right now to build the agenda and track who's approved and reviewed reports is very manual in nature and takes significant amount of staff time. This will streamline that. It will be a learning curve for all of us involved, but eventually we'll streamline that process and make the documentation aspect of that review a lot clearer as well.
So, one more question, please. Will we be able to see that real time? So it'll be like a scale or everybody's name along, or so we'll see who votes and rather than like was pointed out, the weighted vote. It won't just be like 20 votes for and whatever again.
Ooh,
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Does Cynthia, do you know?
From the presentation that we were provided, I believe you can see everything in real time, but the thing was that every director would need to be signed into an electronic device and input their vote. Otherwise, we have to have Heather or myself inputting the votes for each director.
Director Boyko, did you have a question?
I think the real-time thing is a very important question because it also allows the director to say, I voted yes, and I can see yes on my screen and move on, and there's no confusion as to solve our problems. So I think that is built in, and you can see that as you're going along. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'd like to call for the question. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Would you like to go ahead, Director Boyko?
Certainly, Chair. Do you want me to read the whole thing or just go second reading?
I like the whole thing, but Chair Jack always just says do second reading. So whatever you're comfortable with.
I have the time and the effort to do this. That the Alberni Claycrot Regional District Board of Directors give second reading to the bylaw cited as bylaw F1170 TAC 2 2025 to 2029 Alberni Claycrot Regional District Financial Plan Amendment.
Moved by Director Boyko, seconded by Director Roth. Terry, did you have a comment?
Just that I have received confirmation that yes, it will be real time and it will be shown on the screen.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Please go ahead, Director Boyko.
Thank you, Chair. Motion that the Alberni Claycrot Regional District Board of Directors give third reading to the bylaw cited as bylaw F1170 TAC 2 2025 to 2029 Alberni Claycrot Regional District Financial Plan Amendment.
Moved by Director Boyko, seconded by Director Siga. Questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. And please go ahead.
Finally, thank you, Chair, that the Alberni Claycrot Regional District Board of Directors adopt bylaw cited as bylaw F1170-2 2025 to 2029 Alberni Claycrot Regional District Financial Plan Amendment.
Moved by Director Boyko, seconded by Director Siga. Final questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Next is request for decision for grant funding application with UPCM Community to Community. Terry, please go ahead.
Thank you. So staff are looking to apply for a community forum to host an economic development workshop. I know we had already talked and have in the budget and economic development kind of tabletop exercise and potential discussion leading towards the possibility of developing a service, but there has been a lot of interest from the nations about this topic, and so we just thought to take the time to kind of have a more fulsome discussion prior to determining what our needs at the regional district are would be worthwhile. And I would say that the last week probably in the emergency operations center, the need for an economic development service of some form at the regional district has become very apparent as we deal with it from an emergency standpoint. So good timing on this one, but just looking for the board's endorsement to apply for this grant.
Thank you, Terry. Any questions or comments? Director Boyko?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So are we proposing an ACRD economic development service that we haven't heard of before? Is this the first time you're hearing about this?
So that was the direction out of the grant and aid discussion last year, was that the one part that has been occurring is that small contribution to the city of Port Alberni to their economic development service. Providing a grant and aid for a service isn't really a proper process, and it may end up being an incredibly small service that does just provide some funds to the city of Port Alberni, but we feel like we need to clearly define this box. And so during the budget discussions this year, there was a bit more discussion about this topic as the city of Port Alberni was looking. Then we had the Chamber of Commerce wanting to see if they could be potentially part of these discussions. And then there's a number of parties that are in the region that are working kind of in this field. And so trying to figure out maybe where the gaps are, and then defining as a group here at this board table what direction we want to do. Is it a region-wide service? Is it an incredibly small electoral area only service? Who are going to be the participants, and what would be the scope of the service? So just making sure that we have a fulsome discussion before we define something small or large.
Understood. Thank you, Terry. I know we put in, I think, about 10,000 on the dot right now as a grant, and Beaufort pulled out their $500 earlier this year. So moving forward, we'd have to have some kind of thing to make sure we're not spending $100,000 to redefine how we spend $10,000 in something like that, to make this not a burden on the taxpayers moving forward. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Director Siga?
Sorry, I'd like to put forward the motion if that's appropriate now.
Yeah, did you want to read it out? Do you have it handy, or do you want me to read it?
I move that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors support the UBCM funding application to the community program to host an economic development workshop to gather information on initiatives in the region and begin to define the scope of an ACRD proposed economic development service.
Moved by Director Siga, second by Director Cote. Any final questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Request for decision on free transit on the West Coast for September 20th, 2025. Eddie, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm bringing forward a recommendation for the board to designate Saturday, September 20th, 25th, 2025 as a free transit day for the West Coast Transit Service, supporting the 25th anniversary gathering hosted by the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust and Cloquet First Nations at Wickenitish Community School. The event will be a full-day public celebration featuring a community meal, presentations, educational booths, and activities for all ages. Free transit will promote inclusive access, aligning with the values of sustainability, equity, and community connection central to the Biosphere designation. Operationally, this will require minimal staff time, and the estimated revenue impact is approximately $500 based on average daily boardings. We recommend the board approve this designation to help foster broad community participation in this important event. And happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from directors? Director McEwen, then Director Steer.
I put my hand up to make this motion unless Director Steer has a question before I do that.
Please go ahead and make the motion.
All right, I will move that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors direct staff to designate Saturday, September 20th, 2025 as a free transit day for the West Coast Transit Service in support of the 25th anniversary gathering hosted by the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust and the Tloquet First Nation.
Are you seconding that, Director Steer? Fantastic. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Next is request for decision of formal lease application LSA 205-025007 Ministry of Forest. And Brett McLean will be speaking on this. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm very pleased to be bringing forward a recommendation from the Ministry of Forests for a lease expansion. The Ministry of Forests will be requesting a 10-year lease expansion to allow their wildfire response capabilities.
Any questions or comments from directors? Director McEwen, you have your hand up. Director Cote?
Thank you. So, believe that the airport committee discussed this also, and we're in favor of this.
Correct.
Yeah. Not mentioned. That I think it, but maybe in the report, I've been gapping a little bit. I'd like to
My
make the
apologies.
motion. I'd like to make the motion then that the Alberni Quaqua Regional District Board of Directors approve the amendment of lease LSA 2025007 for the Ministry of Forests at the Alberni Valley Regional Airport to include the adjacent groundside lot for a term of 10 years and 10 months, commencing September 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2036.
Moved by Director Cote, second by Director Siga. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Request for decision of formal lease application LSA 2025006 Colson Aviation. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Colson Aviation has been a tenant at Abra since 1995. They are seeking a new three-year lease agreement for lots 12 and 13. These lots will be used specifically for aviation storage and will not include any permanent structures at this time. The recommendation is that the Alberni Valley Regional Airport Advisory Committee supports the lease application for Colson Aviation and recommend that the Board of Directors consider an approval for the final lease application. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Cote?
Thank you. Once again, this was discussed at the Alberni Valley Airport Committee, Regional Airport Committee, and we're in support. So I'd like to make the recommendation that the Alberni Quaqua Regional District Board of Directors approve lease LF A2025006 with Colson Aviation for lots 12 and 13 at the Alberni Valley Regional Airport for a term of 3 years.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Sparrow. Is there any questions or comments from directors? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Planning matters. We've got a few here today, Alex. First one is, this is only for electoral area directors. The first one is for DVA 25005, Donby Sahi 422 Burlow Road, Banfield. Please go ahead, Alex.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a development variance application for a property on Burlow Island in Banfield Harbor. The variance relates to a partially constructed house that was sited incorrectly on the property and does not comply with the previous development variance that was issued in 2022. The new variance would allow for the existing house to be located as is at 6.4 meters from the front lot line and 3 meters from the side yard. The board received letters of opposition and a delegation from the neighbor at the June 11th meeting, where the board resolved to defer a decision on this application and refer it back with all the correspondence to the Banfield Advisory Planning Commission for further discussion. The Banfield APC reviewed the application at 2 meetings, one held on June 26th and one on July 24th. At those meetings, the APC received new information submitted by the applicants, including a technical engineering memo that is included here in the package for you, and a letter was received from the contractor that built the house. The neighboring property owner was also invited by the APC to present. After discussion, the APC did not pass a recommendation on the application. I will highlight that all of that information that was considered by the APC is included here in this package for the board's review. It is also our understanding that since those meetings, the applicants and the neighboring property owner have been in communication to attempt to address some of the concerns that were raised. And at this time, staff recommend that the board defer a decision on the variance and allow an opportunity for the applicants to address those concerns and to further invite the applicants to make a delegation to the board. Happy to answer any questions.
Director Beckett, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for that report, Alex. And given that report and the information from that report, I would like to make the motion that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors defer a decision on the development variance permit DBA 25005 to the October 8th board meeting to allow the applicants an opportunity to address concerns raised by the public and to invite the applicants to present to the board as a delegation.
And that was a second, Director Cote, moved by Director Beckett, second by Director Cote. Any questions or comments, Director Boyko?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think this is a good thing because you got a lot of moving parts going on here. I'd still like to be able to see the APC meetings, that we can actually see the full minutes and the actual video online so that the directors themselves can put more time into these decisions as they see fit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Next is the temporary use permit 25008 Mackenzie at 8335 Beaver Creek Road. Beaufort temporary use permit, memorandum and permit. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. This TUP application is for the agritourism activities on that property at 8335 Beaver Creek Road. The TUP would allow the applicants to operate a venue, as you've heard, for weddings, markets, and wellness retreats, in addition to agricultural uses on that property. These agritourism uses would be conducted in compliance with the Agricultural Land Commission regulations for agritourism and gathering for an event, the policies for which are attached to the permit. Now, after receiving letters of opposition to the application at the July 23rd board meeting, the board resolved to defer a decision on this application and allow the applicants to address those concerns raised from the neighbors. That has now occurred. You did receive a presentation from Cara McKenzie, and the applicants have provided a submission for this meeting, and that is included in the package. The submission addresses concerns and offers solutions to some of those issues regarding excessive noise, parking, event scope, environmental protection, and highlighting that no camping will occur as part of the agritourism use. A public notice was advertised ahead of this meeting, and 2 additional letters have been received expressing opposition to the TUP. Those letters are included in the agenda as late items. Concerns raised in those letters include excessive noise, parking on Beaver Creek Road, and the risk of fire from events held on the property. These letters are in addition to the delegation that was received by the neighbor at this meeting and the letter of opposition that was previously received on July 23rd. I will highlight that the terms and the conditions of the TUP have been updated to reflect the revised proposal, and the applicants have presented. And given this new information that has been provided, staff do recommend that the board issue the temporary use permit with the wording as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Alex? Director Boyko?
Chair, I'm going to make the motion here to get this discussion going, but I'm expecting a healthy discussion from all the different board members, because I'd like to get some feelings on their thoughts here as well. So I will make the motion that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors issue temporary use permit TUP 25008. Thank you.
Thank you. Moved by Director Boyko, seconded by Director Cote. Any questions or comments from directors?
I will start this off.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So there's a couple of main concerns here, and it's common themes through all the neighbors, and we have to address them before we actually issue this permit. So in Beaufort, I liked what Director Median said there, but in Beaufort, we don't have noise bylaws, and we're not looking to add bylaws or anything like that. But at the same time, we need to be very respectful of neighbors' places, and we all moved out here for nice privacy and quiet living and moving forward. So we need to figure out a solution to this, and adding a bylaw is not an option, but perhaps for this permit, we need to add some rules and timelines and things like that. With regard to parking, I think we've already beaten that to death, but yes, I did run into someone last night that said I should be expecting a call from BC Parks because during the market, nobody could move their travel trailers down the road, and I was there at that market, and I agree. But moving forward, the applicants already said that that was their first market. They've learned a lot from there, and there will be changes there. But at the same time, if a permit is issued and if complaints do continue to occur, a permit can be canceled. Is that correct, Alex?
Yes, that is correct. There's a condition that's included in the TUP that allows the board to rescind temporary use permit if the conditions aren't met or if the ownership of the property changes.
Thank you. So firefighting equipment and pre-positioning, I think that's always a good option, but asking someone to have a fire truck and a whole bunch of, tens and $20,000 worth of equipment out there is not necessarily realistic, but at the same time, provisions need to be prepared because we do not have fire protection. And I've had one of my neighbors out here get a bush fire going, and it was a little bit scary going on there. And that was a couple of years ago. So we need to have some provisions for that. But I would like to hear, all the directors are aware of what's going on here and the concerns from all the neighbors. So I'd like to hear what the other directors say before we keep going here. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cote, Director Roth, and Director Sparrow. Please go ahead, Director Cote.
Thank you. Sprout Lake has a lot of temporary use permits. There's been a lot of temporary permits that have gone through this board. It doesn't matter really what area it is, they're all dealing with the same issues. I think that the applicant has addressed the concerns, and in my opinion, I think that we should support this. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead, Director Roth.
Thank you. I think that there should be a condition attached, and it should be that there's a fire protection plan in place, and it could be something that works with WorkSafe BC legislation. Definitely there needs to be some kind of plan, and it needs to be in place before we issue this. I also think that there should be conditions attached with the parking, and maybe they've been addressed, but when I was reading through the material, it not only takes into consideration people being able to use Beaver Creek Road, it also takes into consideration land use. Like if you've got farming, are you going to be damaging your own property? But regardless, the parking needs to be on the property, not on Beaver Creek Road. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sparrow.
Thank you for that. My one question comes up from what the other person said regarding the amount of usage you're allowed to have on ALR land, being 10 uses per year. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but Alex, do you know if that is true or not?
Sorry, with respect to the parking?
No, with respect to the amount of usage you can have per year.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, the policy that the Agricultural Land Commission has limits the number of events to 10 events per year and limits the capacity of those events to 150 persons per event.
Okay, and will that become part of the TUP?
It will, yes. It is quoted in the TUP, and that policy is an appendix of the TUP as well. So the expectation would be that the Agricultural Land Commission regulations and policies would match what would be permitted by the TUP. I'll also highlight just on the parking as well that one of the conditions of the TUP is that all event parking is to be located on site with sufficient signage. And again, that is in accordance with that policy that's attached to the permit. So the expectation would be that the parking will be provided on site, and that I believe the applicant has submitted some information that they would have some personnel out there directing people on the property. And then on the fire safety planning, there is another condition in the TUP that speaks to fire smart principles to be considered as part of any development of the site, and that fire safety and emergency response protocols to be included in event planning. But I am okay with, if the board would like to add conditions to the TUP, you can do that by resolution. And I think having a fire safety plan in place prior to any event would be a fair condition that staff would be supportive of.
Did you have another question, Director Sparrow?
I did. In regards to noise bylaw, does Beaver Creek have a noise bylaw? And would this be in part of the TUP as well?
Through the chair, thank you. This property is in the Beaufort electoral area, and the Beauforts do not have a noise bylaw. So there is wording in the TUP that would require quiet time, which means no application of sound must be observed from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. But again, that would be up to the discretion of the regional district to enforce the provisions of the TUP as no bylaw is in place.
Thank you, Alex. Director Cote, did you have another question?
Thank you. So through the chair to staff, so all of our permits that we provide, we don't ask for fire protection to be included, which I think that this applicant has provided a lot of information that they're actually going above and beyond to make sure that there is some fire protection. Yeah, I didn't hear any questions about septic use, or anything like that, for up to 100 people. That would be one of my concerns, and I'm sure that a lot of information that's been provided for this temporary use permit for what they're going to be doing, I'm sure that they have all of these things covered. So that's the kind of questions that we ask at Sprout Lake. I don't think that we've really asked about fire protection attached with any of the permits, because I think people you're going to have something like the McLean Mill, where they had camping and they have people in all the time. I don't believe that we've asked for them to have a fire plan or a water tanker there or anything like that. I think that these people are going above and beyond for what they're providing. So, if Beaufort wanted, this is for one property, it's not for all of Beaufort. If Beaufort wanted to have fire protection, they could invest in it, create that service. If there's a need for it, then they could step up. Thank you.
Director Boyko, then Director Roth. Please go ahead, Director Boyko.
Thank you, Chair. I echo what Director Cote just said, that Beaufort doesn't have fire protection, and requiring it from one property is problematic because you don't require it for anybody else here. That being said, a good thing to do if you're going to have 100 people at your property is to make sure you have fire smart principles. Cut your grass, get all this stuff out of there. Don't have a bunch of people with a bunch of debris, and make sure all the underbrush is gone. Spend some time preparing things. Make sure you have a smoking section that doesn't have a bunch of flammable materials around there. With regard to the septic, I don't believe there's going to be a septic field, if I remember correctly from when we did this at the Beaufort APC. There's only going to be porta potties and that kind of thing, as opposed to a built-in full-time septic field. There's one for the house, but adding one for 100 guests, I don't think that's on the radar here. So it'll be essentially dry camping kind of services provided. But I do agree, and I like the conversations that we're having here. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Roth.
I was just going to add about the fire protection. The reason that other areas don't require this on a TUP is because they have volunteer fire departments. Beaufort is the only area that does not have fire protection as far as a community-based fire protection. McLean Mill, it's in the Beaufort district, but it's covered under Cherry Creek fire. So, I mean, I can understand. I think there is definitely a need to protect the neighbors. Neighbors count. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Sika.
Thank you. Yeah, that kind of leads into what I had in mind. These people are resident on the property. The only issues I've had with tourists using properties is where the owner is not on site and you have nobody to contact, and you have, other than phoning the police, you can't really address the recurrent issues that come up. And I think this family seems like they're trying to get along with the neighbors, which is, it's going to be important to them that they continue to try to get along with the neighbors. So, yeah, I'm comfortable with the temporary use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final questions or comments?
Just a,
Director
thank you, Chair.
Boyko?
Just a final comment. I just wonder if any of the First Nations have any feedback on working together with neighbors, because that's what this temporary use permit is all about. Okay, it's all about getting along with the neighbors and working together. We don't want to shut down businesses, but at the same time, we need to make sure that the business fits into the area that is going on there. I just wonder if there's any feedback on that. Thank you.
Do you have any response to that, Alex?
So the temporary use permit was not referred to the Sechot or Fetch-Sip First Nations in this case. So we don't have any direct comments from them on this application. If there are directors on the board that have additional feedback, then we're happy to help answer.
I just wonder if any of the other directors have anything else to add to this.
Okay, nobody has their hand up. Okay, so I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion?
I don't know if we seconded it yet.
Yes, we did. Okay, I'll call for the question again. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda is temporary use permit 24008, Ahira 10404 Marina Vista Drive, Sproat Lake. Temporary use permit, memorandum and permit. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a TUP for a short-term rental use of a property located on Marina Vista Drive in that Sproat Lake area. The TUP would allow for the operation of a 2-bedroom STR in the summer months with required conditions in place for off-street parking, for caretaker availability, and noise control. The board first considered this application at April 23rd, 2025, after which the neighborhood mail-out and public advertising was completed. Following the initial public notice period, site inspections were completed by staff to confirm that the health and life safety requirements of the building are in place for it to operate as a short-term rental, and that any additional accommodation uses beyond the 2 bedrooms permitted by the building permit had been decommissioned. An additional public notice was published ahead of the board meeting, and a total of 3 letters have been received, one being included as a late item on this agenda. With the letters expressing opposition to this application, we'll highlight that the letters that were received from residents are from residents on the Sproat Lake Estates Mobile Home Park, which is on the east side of Alden Road, east of this development. And one of those letters expresses concerns about noise from late night parties and difficulty with enforcement. The applicants spoke to concerns about noise when they presented to the Sproat Lake APC bylaw or meeting, and have noted that they have addressed the issue through improved management of the STR. Given the conditions that are included within the TUP and the information that's provided by the applicants, at this time, staff recommends the board issue TUP 24008. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Alex? Director Siga? You're muted, Director Siga.
Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I just, it says that prior to the APC or after the APC meeting, the owners resolved the issue about the noise, but I'm not sure if there is an on-site manager or not. Can you clarify that?
Please go ahead, Alex.
Yes, happy to clarify that. The owners of the property do reside outside of the Alberni Valley, but the brother, I believe the sibling of the owner, does live in the Alberni Valley and acts as the the caretaker. So there isn't a caretaker on site. This would be the short-term rental of the entire 2-bedroom home. But there is a caretaker that lives within the Alberni Valley that helps manage that. The noise issues that were addressed by the applicants, they went in detail about a police incident they had a couple of years ago that had to be dealt with, and they've since improved the management of the STR to alleviate those concerns moving forward.
Thank you, Director Cote. Did you wish to make the motion?
I'd like to make a comment to start off. So the complaints are coming from people that could have possibly been living in the area back when the subdivision of this property happened. There was 2 public hearings. The first one went through and it was compromised, and we did a second one. But the proposal that came forward, we changed a bit, and so that it was more suitable to what the residents around this development turned into. It was that there was going to be full-time residents up top and that commercial was down below. With these opportunity of having these temporary use permits now, it really changes the whole dynamic of what that development was supposed to represent, a full-time resident. I'm really not feeling very comfortable with this application, the previous one, and I'd like to ask staff how many more are in line now from that development of permanent residents on this development property. Thank you.
Happy to answer that. We do not have any active applications for any additional TUPs on this road, but if we do, we will be bringing them forward to the board.
Thank you. So I was under the impression that there was some communication from other residents, owners in this development, that they also wanted to do temporary use permits for short-term vacation rentals. That changes this. 2 out of 10 is not a lot, but I have heard that other properties in this development have been doing short-term vacation rentals previously. So it makes me very unsupportive of moving these forward when it was given direction that this was for permanent residents. But knowing that lower part of this property, the subdivision, was for commercial rental properties. I would like to make the recommendation that we approve this, but if every piece of property up there turns into a short-term vacation rental and it turns into a different zoning, why did we bother to make it into permanent residences so that it would appease the neighbors, so that the commercial was down below? I think that the owners of the applicants here will maintain, but I'm under the impression that they never will be using this as a home, and that's so the temporary use is for 3 years, and then an additional 3 years. That makes this a rental property, commercial rental property, for a very long time. And if I have more applications, there's already one that's been approved, but 1 out of 10 is not a lot. So I'd really like to be addressing this with our OCP that we're working, Sprout Lake is working on right now. What is a recreational property? How do we deal with these recreational properties all around the lake? We don't have any hotels, any proper rentals that are not associated with homes. Well, there is a couple, but very, very little. for a recreational area. So I would say that reluctantly, I would make the recommendation that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors issue the temporary use permit TUP 24008. But I'm hoping that we don't have the rest of the properties up there all doing the same and changing this designation to commercial. Thank you.
Would anyone like to second that motion? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Sparrow. Any final questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is RD 24007 Zeller 7775 Pacific Rim Highway Sprout Lake rezoning report and bylaw. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. This is a rezoning application. The property owners are applying to rezone from Highway Commercial C4 District to the Acreage Residential RA3 District. This would reflect a change in use by the current property owner from a mix of commercial uses historically on this property to a primary residential use today. The rezoning involves an amendment to the Sprout Lake Official Community Plan, and a public hearing would be required in this case. The Sprout Lake APC reviewed this application at the July 28th meeting, where they passed a motion to support the application as presented. Recommended conditions of the rezoning include confirmation that the property has sewage disposal capacity to meet the minimum 0.24 of a hectare lot size in the RA3 zoning, and that the applicants agreed to discharge a covenant that relates to the previous commercial use of the property. At this time, staff recommended the board proceed with first reading of bylaws P1526 and P1527, and that a public hearing be delegated for the OCP and zoning amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Alex? Director Cote?
Sad day to be taking this away from being commercial property, but I will make the recommendation that bylaw P1526 Sprout Lake Official Community Plan Amendment bylaw be read a first time.
Do we have a seconder? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Sparrow. Any final questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. I will go with John Jack and say, oh, I have to join another one. That bylaw P1527 Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Amendment bylaw be read a first time.
Anyone like to second that motion? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Siga. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Director Cote, please go ahead.
I move that the public hearing for bylaws P1526 and P1527 be delegated to the Director of Electoral Area D, the alternate director, or the chairperson of the regional district.
Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Siga. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Please go ahead.
I move that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors confirm that the adoption of bylaws P1526 and P1527 are subject to confirmation from a registered on-site wastewater practitioner that the parcel can support on-site sewage disposal to a density of 0.24 hectares. B, the applicant agreeing to discharge restrictive covenant EF 95869. And C, meeting all technical referral agency requirements.
Anyone like to second that? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Siga. Any questions or comments? See, Director Cote?
Just a comment that it's just the opposite of the last application. Thanks.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. So the next one, I will be recusing myself, and Director Cote is the only other director in the room, so she gets the job of chair for this. Thank you. There we go. Okay, so we are on DVF 25001, Franker 6614, Andrews Lane, Cherry Creek.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This is a development variance application in the Cherry Creek area. The variance would address encroachments to the watercourse setback and the side yard setback for an existing accessory structure built without a building permit. The variance would reduce the watercourse setback from 30 meters down to 11.7 meters from Platzer Creek and 2.8 meters from the north side lot line. Sorry, no, hold on a second. Reduced from 30 meters to 11.7 meters on the creek and increase the permitted building height from 4.6 meters to 6.7 meters, and that's for that existing building that is in place. The board considered this application on June 25th, where the board resolved to proceed with the neighbor notification process. That has now been completed, and we did receive 6 letters of public correspondence. 1 letter noted support for the application, and 5 of those letters expressed concerns and general opposition, with those concerns raised, including construction without a building permit, the industrial use of the property, riparian area regulations and protection of that riparian area, parking and fueling equipment near Platzer Creek, noise from heavy equipment, impacts on the road and runoff. So considering all of the public correspondence that was received in opposition to this variance, at this time, staff recommend that the board defer a decision on the application to allow the applicants to address any concerns raised by the neighbors, and that the board invite the applicants to make a delegation to the board. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. To the board. I'm not seeing any. Oh, okay. Director Sparrow.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I do have a few questions about this whole process here. There is 2 buildings that were built without permits. That's correct, but one is sort of within the parameters should be for setbacks, and we're mainly concentrating on a second building and the riparian zone. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So there are 2 buildings associated with this this process, I guess. One of those does not require a variance for us to issue the building permit, and the building inspectors working through that building, they do both require the development permit to be in place, but the development variance to reduce the watercourse setback and to increase the building height is only required for this one structure that's presented here for you today.
Okay, I have a few questions. I know through my time at Cherry Creek, I was on the Enhancement Society, and there was a lot of studies done on the fisheries areas and reports. And I think there is a report on Platzer Creek from the 70s or era at that time. But that was not considered part of this report when the guy did his report for the fisheries. And I was wondering, can we bring that up to see what was actually said back then as to what the riparian zones were, what the setbacks were, and how it was back then, because I know there was a remediation done at that time because of infringements upon the creek at that time. Can that be part of the study too, or is that outside the scope?
Through the chair, yes, absolutely. We can seek that background information. That would be helpful for the board's deliberation. It would take us some time to find the report and the work that had previously taken place, but if it informs the board's decision, we can make it a part of the package if the application is deferred.
Okay, I got a lot of questions. Let's keep going if that's okay.
Okay.
So this is a grandparenting thing they say they have here, and I have to try to determine exactly what was the agreed upon thing. There's 2 areas in Cherry Creek that have this clause around them. It used to be 3, but there's 2 now. So who determines what is the limit on the grandparenting? Who decides how many trucks, how many vehicles? How does that come into play with this grandparenting clause we have? It's one question. I'll just go through the questions and so we get answered. So I don't know how much equipment can be there, how far you can get fuel trucks from creeks are allowed. If you look, this building was constructed in 2019. The survey was done in 2023 on December 30th. The engineer drawings were done on December 2024. And if you look at the engineering drawings real carefully, it says replace existing columns on drawings. So if we go through and okay all this, are we liable for the buildings? Because they're not, the engineer said the columns are too small. The building's too high and it's too close to the creek. So we're gonna have to figure out where our liabilities are in all this. We're gonna have to figure out how much debris is there, how close it is, and how much dirt was brought in and pushed around. I know the neighbors are upset about a lot of things. One of it is the amount of dirt they brought in, and they pushed their neighbors' fences around quite a bit, and that's kind of ticked them off too. So there's also dead trees now because they've covered up the sides of the trees with dirt as they brought it all in. I'm not against people having a business on their property, but it seems to me that they've taken the liberties here and they're asking us to take the liabilities. So I don't know how we're going to do this building because the columns are too small. If we say yes, do we assume of the liabilities? And then we have the oil separator that said it's not been used in 8 years and it's going to the creek. I mean, I have a lot of questions here. Are all these questions going to be answered if and when this presentation is done? And who is liable for all these questions?
Will let staff answer?
Thank you for that. So, thank you, Director Sparrow. Just going through one by one here. So the grandfathering that's discussed in the consultant's report. This variance application was submitted as a result of bylaw enforcement action that took place, but the scope of the variance is only limited to the siting of the building itself. The use of the property is not impacted by the variance application. The bylaw enforcement updates between the ACRD and the property owner are just that. They're not in the public, so that is a separate process from this. And determining what legal non-conforming looks like is a section of the Local Government Act that is quite specific to that. But I just want to be clear that the variance application is only for the siting of the building. The engineering reports on the buildings themselves, so those are required by the building inspector, and that would be looked at the issuance of any building permit if that were to take place for this buildings. The short answer on liability is that the reason we seek assurances from structural engineers is to ensure that the building is safe and that they are putting their professional lens on that and giving us assurance that if we move forward on a building permit, that it is done so safely. With respect to the debris and the dirt being moved around and the impact on the trees within the riparian area, we do have the report from Riparian Environmental Consulting, who are the qualified environmental professionals that looked at this site and made recommendations on how to restore and enhance and improve that area. We would be, if the board moves ahead with the development variance, we would be issuing a development permit at the same time that would establish that restoration plan of the riparian area that would need to take place prior to the building permit. And then the other one being the oil separator as well, that is also included in that report from Riparian, that it would need to be used properly and maintained on a regular basis to deal with any runoff issues if need be. So, we can elaborate on those answers as part of a future staff report and package for the board if the board wishes to receive that information. You can provide us that direction. Thank you.
I got one more.
Okay,
question.
one more, and then we'll move on to Director Boyko.
Thank you. This grandparenting thing, I know we have a couple in Cherry Creek. Is there any way in the OCPs to designate this as a non-regulated area so people know that when they buy around it, there is an issue besides saying residential, they know they're going to into a commercial zone? Can we do that with the OCPs?
Thank you for the question through the chair. We can look at options for that. I don't want to answer anything on our abilities to deal with the grandparenting of uses through the OCP without having a look at it. But absolutely, it's something that we can consider as part of the future OCP update that will be happening in Cherry Creek.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director Boyko?
Thank you, Acting Chair. So there's concerns about obviously the activities in the buildings there, but one of the other concerns that was raised by the neighbors is the noise levels, the industrial activities happening at 3 a.m, trucks, all this kind of stuff. And we're not really talking about that at all. And I know there is noise bylaws in Cherry Creek, I believe. Are we looking at anything like that? Any restrictions like that we put on the Beaufort property for this property and reducing activities so that it has more of a residential character? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this one is a little bit different than the conditions of the TUP. So it wouldn't be a condition of the development variance that a nuisance would be dealt with. But there are nuisance bylaws and there are noise bylaws in place for Cherry Creek that the ACRD has the ability to enforce, and that would be more associated with the use of the property and the use of the building. But I mean, absolutely something that that we can look at if there is a concern in the neighborhood.
Just as a follow-up, what is this property zoned at right now?
I believe the zoning is an RA zone. I can't remember if it's RA2 or RA1.
So just residential that's being used as a commercial property, right?
Yes. So that is the existing zoning right now. There is a use that was existing prior to the zoning bylaw coming into effect. Again, I don't have the details of that, but yeah, the current zoning is a residential zone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't see any more questions. There is a recommendation in your package, in your agenda. Is someone prepared to make the recommendation? Director Roth?
Thank you. I would like to know about fire protection. I understand that there was already one large fire on that property, or perhaps it caused a fire. Could I learn more about that?
Yeah.
Through the chair, yes. The property is within the fire protection area that the Cherry Creek Improvement District has. We could refer this to the Improvement District to get their comments as well. That could be something that we seek additional comments to inform the board's decision.
Thank you. That would be a good response.
Director Sparrow?
Thank you. I can probably answer that question. The house in the area was in fire protection. However, across the road is not, and that's where the wildland fire was. Although it's owned by the same person, it was actually in a non area with non-fire protection. So that's why it was the way it is. But this is within fire protection. Yes. And do you want me to make the motion?
I would like you to make the motion.
Okay, thank you. That the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors defer a decision on development variance permit DVF 25001 to allow the applicants to address concerns raised during the public notice period and to invite the applicants to present to the board as a delegation.
Director Bade, Siga, second. Okay. Any more questions? All in favor? Opposed? That passes. Thank you. We'll invite Director Haggard back. Thank you, Director Cote.
Okay, next we have staff reports. We have the Victoria Area Corporation report, meeting schedule for September 2025, building report for July 2025, and a monthly agreement and grant delegation report for July 2025. Does anyone want to take anything up? Please go ahead, Daniel.
If I could make a comment to the 10.1B, the meeting schedule. Staff would like to send out an email to postpone both the September 10th committee of the whole meeting as well as the September 3rd West Coast committee meeting. Just with the volume of resources that we've been using in the EOC, we don't feel that we're able to put together the packages quickly enough, and feel that the matters that were up for discussion at both those meetings could be rescheduled later in the month, recognizing, of course, that there's a UBCM to dance around, but we felt that we could still achieve the timelines of those discussions prior to, with exception to one element that was going to go to the committee of the whole, and that's a discussion around UBCM. But we feel that that agenda item could be added to the next board meeting in advance of UBCM, and therefore that discussion occurs in a timely way. Wanted to flag that and see if there's any strong opposition to those changes.
Do you need an official motion for that or just agreement?
Just agreeing. We typically will send out an email, but seeing as we have everyone, if there's any comments, it's easier than sending out 14 emails. So
Director Steer?
Yes, thank you through the chair. Yeah, Daniel, I'm just looking at the schedule. Is the schedule, the proposed change, Wednesday, September 3rd? Is that the proposed change? I don't have my my calendars on my computer that I can't dig up to see. Is that the proposed change?
No, that is what is in the existing schedule.
Okay.
And what we're proposing is to change that, and we would send out new proposed dates for both the West Coast Committee and the Committee of the Whole.
Okay. Great. So you would send out in advance potential. You don't happen to have those on you right now, do you?
No, but they will likely land. They'll likely land after the UBCM, and that way we have enough time and notice. But it's just with the activities going on, I've had to prioritize people that would otherwise be writing reports to be writing resource requests in an emergency operations center. So that is why we're asking for the postponement.
Is there anybody opposed to changing those meetings? So it looks like we're on agreement, so please go ahead. Director Cote.
Thank you. I'd like to pull 10.1A, the electoral area incorporation report. So there is some community members at Sprout Lake that are interested in moving this forward. So I understand that there's a strain on staff resources right now, but if we could get this started, and I don't know if we start with engaging the community members that are interested in working on this at this point, or just to understand the procedure and what's required moving forward. We have done an incorporation study in the past, and I'm not sure if this would be just an update to what the province would be looking at supporting, or if it would be to be looking at what's new, what the new requests.
I think in this case, what we would be doing is loading this up to our future work plan. And that would also start by reaching out to the ministry to make sure that we can get some funds to do the necessary work. That work might not be as comprehensive as the first time. In the case of Sprout Lake, it will probably just take the existing work, but it might be a little stale dated as well. So it's hard for us to know right away. So we'd start by reaching out to the ministry just to get that lay of the land, understand what process they would recommend, and then understand whether there's a grant application to be made for funding. then we come back with a more detailed report around what the action plan and when that action plan would move forward.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We will be at UBCM very shortly, and I would like to actually have a meeting with the province staff just to sort of give a heads up that this is what we would like to do, that we want to move forward on this, and so that they're aware we're wanting to move forward also. So if we could add that to our QBCM agenda, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Looking at Cynthia for that, and I think we have a list of different staff meetings that we are wanting to have, and so is there a comment on that, Cynthia?
So we did miss the deadlines to request ahead of time, but they did say that there will be a table there where you can request those meetings with staff. Just for follow-up, I did reach out to the ministry that did provide that presentation that is included in the report on what the process is for requesting the funding, and they do it on an ongoing basis. I did ask the question about because Sprout Lake did receive funding in the past, would there be an update to the report, or is there a certain timeline where they consider that information as outdated and needs to be completely redone? They haven't sent a response yet, but you could request a meeting with their staff.
Thank you. Made many meetings at UBCM in the past, so look forward to this. So through staff, then a question. Because I know that there would be a time requirement from staff. Does that have to go into next year's budget, or can we move it in somehow? Now that we're working on our OCP as well, that would make a significant change to the direction of that. And just wondering how that could be considered. Thank you.
We would likely add that to the work plan for 2026 and then have that discussion when we're looking at the full context of the work plan to make any decisions at that.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, giving a motion that the Board of Directors receive the staff reports A through D. Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Now on to area reports. Electoral Area A, Banfield. Director Beckett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to make a couple comments. First of all, thank you, Chair Haggard, for your opening remarks and passing on our collective thanks to those various agencies, provincial, federal, and as well as staff for their extraordinary efforts and contributions in dealing with the Mount Underwood fire. I'd also like to personally thank those directors who reached out to me to offer their support and do a check-in with both our community, Anakla, and myself. With respect to Banfield, I'd like to thank and acknowledge friends and neighbors for helping each other out through these challenging times. Truly a resilient and caring community. As Daniel has alluded to, we will conduct a thorough critique in the very near future, which will allow us to identify what went well and what we can improve upon, lessons learned. This forthcoming information will allow us to take the necessary steps to enhance our emergency preparedness capacity to deal with future emergencies, and again, lessons that can be shared throughout the region and quite frankly, throughout the province. And then finally, I'd like to identify that this weekend, this long weekend, is the Port Alberni Salmon Festival. It's a fishing tournament with incredibly generous prizes. And for those who want to catch the winning fish, I would encourage you to come to Banfield because fishing is hot, hot, hot. And we've got lodges with some accommodations that are open. So please consider either coming down the inlet or driving around through Yubo and Lake Cowichan to visit our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those comments, Director Beckett, and our thoughts and prayers are certainly with you and your community. Next is electoral area B, Beaufort, Director Boyko.
Thank you, Chair. It's a busy time of year in Beaufort. We're starting to do harvest and stuff like that. But I just want to highlight what's happened in the last couple of weeks is just showing the community resilience and the fact that people should take it upon themselves to be prepared for whatever's happened. We've had multiple events in the past couple of years. Depending on roads being open, depending on government help of whatever kind, be it hydro, water, roads, anything, be prepared yourself. Get yourself a generator, get yourself one that will work for everything you need so you don't have to throw away a fridge or freezer full of food. Talk to your neighbors, make sure you have enough gas stored up. I'm glad that we added those items to our emergency supplies, and hopefully that's on the website because we voted on that last year to make sure that people are looking after themselves. With the transportation committee, I know we postponed a meeting a week or two ago, but we need to actually have some actionable items moving forward, not just a potential emergency road somewhere. We need to actually put some effort into making a reasonable thing because this current event is affecting China Creek Campground, and that's over now, but it's still affecting Beaufort or Banfield potentially for another month. This will affect another electoral area at some point, and we need to increase our resilience as a neighborhood and as an ACRD regional district, but also we need other ways out of this place. So we need actual items. Thank you.
Thank you. Electoral area C, Long Beach, Director Siga.
Thank you. We did have another public forum for the official community plan, and I'd like to thank the team. It was a smaller turnout. A lot of people are away in the summer or busy working, trying to get enough income to get through the winter. And so I really do appreciate the team coming out, and there was good input, and thanks again. Bye.
Thank you. Electoral area D, Sprout Lake, Director Cote.
Thank you. So, Sprout Lake OCP had a barbecue, pop-up barbecue. There was about 100 people that attended that. It was very well attended. Staff did an amazing job, even in the wake of the Underwood fire, having that much representation and being able to communicate with the Sprout Lake community on their questions. I know myself, I had some wonderful conversations at this barbecue. It was a very nice casual event. People got to ask their questions and got answers. So thank you so much to staff for that. My real heartfelt thanks to staff for pulling us through this last event crisis. Really feeling fortunate that we have such a wonderful staff and that the province came in and assisted even with the fire on the other side of Cameron Lake. Like, we were inundated. It was very stressful. I know that air quality wasn't good, and I came home from Parksville one day, and the smoke from the Underwood fire at Cameron Lake was just, you couldn't see the other side of the lake. It was devastating for everybody. Bob, you rock, pulling your community through that. All your interviews were amazing, and Don Jack, Shari Minion, I took in all of that, and it really gives a good feeling of security that we're being looked after, even in this total devastation. Who knows when the road is going to be open, but we know that people are working on it, so that's great. One last thing for Sprout Lake is that we're having a beach cleanup, our annual community beach cleanup. The Sprout Lake Community Association, in joint with partnership with the Fish and Duck will be on Sunday, September the 14th, starting at 9:30. If you don't have a boat, the Fish and Duck can get you out there. It's always a great event. Fish and Duck provide all of the burger lunch afterwards. Hopefully we'll see a lot of people. And if anybody from the board or staff want to come, love to have you there. Media welcome as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Electoral Area E, Beaver Creek, Director Ross.
Thank you. I'd just like to note that the air quality caused by the wildfires is now, well, it's always been, but now it's worse of a public health issue. And I'd like the BC Wildfire Service to adopt a faster initial attack system. It didn't used to be like this 20, 30 years ago, so something's changed. And it's bad. It's bad out there. The air quality right now is not good, but it's made a lot of people, put them in a lot of bad, or in a bad situation with their health. Thank you.
Thank you. Electoral Area F, Cherry Creek, Director Sparrow.
Thank you for that. Everything else along with the wildfires, yeah, it did start in Cherry Creek, close to the China Creek campgrounds, and luckily they got everybody evacuated out of there, and in good due time, and that's all good. And they put the alerts on the Cherry Creek areas, and there was no big concern in the long run, which is great. I'd like to thank everybody that did help out and did move their equipment out of the China Creek area, and all the people that have moved in and actually helped fight the fires, and moved all the equipment around. So we did all that very good. So hopefully we can contain the fire and we can continue working on the road towards Banfield to get it open. But from what I've been hearing there, it is going to be a geotechnical challenge to get it back open again because of the stability of the banks. But hopefully we can do that and get that road running good. It was very busy the last time I was on it, which was just Sunday before the fire. So that's good. Other parts of Cherry Creek, right now, there is a road closure in front of the fire hall as they're trying to put the siding up and they're putting the roof on top. So that's all good. One thing I'd like to do at Cherry Creek in the future is try to get the Cherry Creek Enhancement Society back together or something like that. And I want to try and reach out to some of the people out there in the salmon community. I was told it's been 33 years since we did our last one out Cherry Creek when I was out there, and we dredged the creek and got it back up and running, and now it's got a lot more gravel in it. So I'm going to do a shout out, I guess I'll call anybody out there in the Enhancement Society that wants to start and form a society and see if we can once again dredge the creek and get the salmon back up and running so we can have these prosperous times for the Salmon Derby. So, but I don't really have much. But thank you.
Thank you. City of Port Alberni, Director Minions.
Thanks, everyone. I'll just echo, for the most part, the comments that have been made. Really appreciated how our staff coordinated between so many different agencies and community groups, stakeholders, and the board, keeping everyone informed and really working to support some very challenging situations that went on. And I think just highlighting some of the other comments that have been made, these situations are always extremely difficult, but I think I often walk away from them thinking just like how good we are at this, as awful as that sounds. We have a lot of difficult situations in our region, unfortunately, but every time I end up really amazed by how the various groups in our community come together, often with the ACRD really leading that charge to coordinate and support the community. So I think this is another example of a very scary and horrible situation that went as well as it absolutely could have because of the good work that exists at a staff level, volunteer level, board level, and community level. So really great work to everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to add that anytime there's an emergency or a crisis, there's always learning opportunities. And I learned a lot through this myself, as I'm sure we all have. And I did talk to a resident that had the evacuation alert at Cameron Heights, and she said, we got kind of lazy, and the first thing they did was they cleared away all their brush and debris around their house and grass. And so there's always learning opportunities. And the first thing I did when I realized that there was this huge fire was I made a doggy grab and go bag. And when I was outside the office here, has some handouts on what to pack for your dog, and I missed a couple of things. So I grabbed it, and I'll be more prepared next time. So if you are looking for resources, there is a lot of resources in the office at the Regional District here. District of Tofino, Director Steer.
Yeah, thank you through the chair. Tofino, very busy, but I did want to echo once again the comments around the ACRD and the work, and specifically out to Director Beckett out in Bamfield. Many of my friends and colleagues, as you know, I work out there quite often and been in touch with them, and really want to thank for the effort of everyone in the ACRD and all the and specifically Bob and the work that's being done out there. And then just on a personal note, my oldest son was on one of the unit crews of BC Wildfire Service, brought him all the way down from Burns Lake. He was on the Mount Underwood fire and the Wesley Ridge. And I was able to go visit him at camp, so I don't get to see him very often. So it took a fire and for me to be able to come down and visit. So that was the incredible work of BC Wildfire Service out there. I was able to speak to many of the unit leaders out there, and I really want to give them a hats off or a big slap on the back. So once again, thank you for the service of everyone at the ACRD. It was really, I was out of town for a big part of that, but was paying attention, and unbelievable effort. So thank you kindly.
Thank you. District of Ucluelet, Director McEwen.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to also thank staff for the daily updates about the Mount Underwood fire. They were coming at us morning and evening for quite some time, and that really helped me to be prepared for questions that were asked of me. Particularly, is the road through Port Alberni open or closed? That was the most common question I got from people wanting to come visit the West Coast. And then inquiries about the smoke was the second biggest inquiry, because some of seniors were a bit concerned about their health, should they drive through that smoke or not. But the updates that we received from ACRD staff were really, really helpful. So I just wanted to compliment them on that. Yesterday, we found out that all 5 of our UBCM meetings with ministers have been accepted. So that was great news for that. And also yesterday, I did my first sneak peek tour of our brand new medical clinic. And it's really something. Anytime you get a chance to come out to the coast, be sure and take a little browse through the new clinic. The unofficial grand opening day is Sunday, September 14th. It hasn't been confirmed yet because they want to make sure that Minister Osborne is here to help cut the ribbon. And of course, as on part of the tour, it was brought to our attention that there were a few things that had not been thought of. And one was that, and they have the Island Health has just recently put in a request to BC Transit to have a bus stop at the medical clinic, because at the moment it's not anywhere near it. So that's I'd like to voice my support for that. And also at the moment it's a double solid line. So if you're driving from town out toward the clinic, you're going to be breaking the law, actually, if you turn into the medical clinic. So I've got my staff talking to MOTT about fixing that and maybe adding some dotted lines instead of 2 solid lines. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Huu-ay-aht First Nations, Director Jack, no report. Quiet Nation, Director Johnson, no report. Uchakusit Tribe Government, Director Coots, no report. Ucluelet Government, Director Mastangelo, do you have a report for us today? She's not responding, so she might be busy with her little one. Can I motion that the...
Sorry, I have a different headset on, so it's hard to go back and forth. Yeah, so recently we have been working towards our Ucluelet days, and we're going to be having our annual assembly soon. So that's a good thing. And we have just finished our 4th quarter community assembly as well. We still have a pretty good enrollment for employment options. So just putting that out there to listeners to check our employment board and browse some of the good opportunities that our nation has to offer. And we recently had our open house for housing, and we'll be opening the doors to 30 new homes of 30 new builds. And we have another 30 plus on the horizon. So we'll be looking forward to announcing that in the next upcoming year. And we have onboarded our Director of Education formally. She's back in the community now, so that's also a big achievement. This is one of our youth Fluitas citizens who has came back home and is now Director for our government in the new Department of Education. So I'd like to welcome Asia Tucci to the government, and yes, I'm sure you can hear my little one in the background, so apologies and thank you. That's it for now.
Thank you very much. Can I motion that the Board of Directors receive the yearly reports? Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Boyko. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Now for member reports, 911 Corporation Director Beckett.
No meeting, no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Vancouver Island Region Library Director Boyko.
Yes, we had a quick, we're going to say audit committee meeting about a week and a half ago, and nothing major to report. That things are progressing and the backup reserve funds are increasing. So that's good to hear. Thank you.
Alberni Valley Chamber of Commerce Director Minions had to leave. Do you have any report, Director Boyko?
No, I'm not sent anything from the Chamber of Commerce. I'm still waiting for staff to help out with that. Thank you.
Thank you. At Association of Vancouver Island and Coastal Communities, Director Cote.
Thank you. Just that there'll be the lunch at UBCM. And we have got a couple of people running from AVICC for executive, myself being one of them. So I would appreciate support from our regional district going forward. We have Will Hamilton Cole running for third vice. We have Sarah, I don't think we have anybody that can vote on small community, Sarah Fowler. And we have Vicki Brown and myself running for directors at large that we know of. Because AVICC is trying to make a effort to have a plan as going forward so that we don't end up with one representative at UBCM. Thanks.
Director Cote, I thought you were trying to retire.
I am.
Sawakan Public Advisory Group, Director Sparrow.
Okay, thank you. I have an announcement I will read out. Hold on when I do this because this is me and technology and crap happens. Okay. It is with heavy hearts that we announce the passing of Harold Carstone this Friday, the 25-year member of Tawasin, and his over here. And we had a privilege on behalf of everybody there to visit with him and Judy, who is his daughter. Judy, which his wife, is also on there. Harold will be deeply missed. That's all I have. Thank you.
I just wanted to add to that, in addition to Harold being a member of the Sawakan Public Advisory Groups, Harold has been a long-term volunteer for the regional district, and I just wanted to recognize his contribution. He will be missed. Thank you.
Should we send like a formal letter from the board? Thank you. Any other reports from directors? Seeing none, can I motion the board of directors receive the member reports? Moved by Director Cote, second by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. No unfinished business, no late business. Any questions online?
Just let me look. So no email. No questions in Zoom, and there's a member of the media. I don't know if you have any questions. No, thank you.
I'd like to get someone to make a motion that we go in camera. Motion to close the meeting to the public as per the community charter, sections 91. A part of a board meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered relates to or is one or more of the following: information that is prohibited, or information that, if it were presented in a document, would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. And motion to close the meeting to the public as per the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, sections 21(1). The head of a public body must refuse to disclose to an applicant information. C, the disclosure of which could reasonably be expected to I, harm significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the negotiation position of the third party. Moved by Director Cote. Second by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Question, did you ask for, was there any comment on Zoom or?
Yes, we did.
Okay, thank you.
And there were no comments. Okay, so I'll just take a moment and make sure Janice takes everybody off and is no longer recording. Perfect. Okay, thank you.